What's up, guys? Welcome back. I know it's been a while since I did a video, but I got a good one for you. So, true to my book series, I just finished Off the Rails by Rudy Sarzo. Cool thing about this was I did not expect it, but he actually sent autographed, which is badass, man. I did not expect that at all. Um, it was kind of special to me because Quiet Riot was the first concert I've ever seen. I saw Quiet Riot open up for Black Sabbath. That was my first concert in 1983. It was Black Sabbath Born Again tour, which most Black Sabbath fans probably never even heard of that album. It was done with Ian Gillan right after Dio left, and they replaced Dio with Ian Gillan. Born Again album. I think the way it's mixed kind of hindered it. It doesn't really sound that great, but overall it's a decent album. But anyway, so like I said, Rudy Sarzo, first guy ever seen in concert. This book is if you're really a Randy Rhodes fan, this is like a must read. There's a lot of info about Randy, how he was, um, on and off the stage. Seemed like a pretty laid back guy, down to earth. He didn't come off like an asshole. Fans would come up on the street with guitars, and he would actually show them how to do a solo for Crazy Train right there in the street. Nice guy. So Rudy kind of talks about how it was in early '80s in LA, the scene. He was playing with Quiet Riot, obviously. He got his background playing in Miami with. He's actually from Miami. He's Cuban immigrant. He started playing, I guess, Cuban salsa or something, and he wanted to play rock and roll. So he went to LA and hopes of his dreams will come true, which it did. I think he's played in like so many bands by now. But so he went to LA, and the book really does a good job of kind of outlining how the scene was in LA at the time. He was struggling with Quiet Riot. They were the biggest band in LA, but they weren't getting signed. No record deal. Uh, Somehow Ozzy got Randy Rhodes' name from actually Dana Strum from the band Slaughter. In case you don't know, uh, Slaughter, they're okay band. I mean, I did like their first album. I think they're really good. They were really popular in '89, '90. Slaughter Up All Night. If you never check it out, but Dana Strum, he introduced Ozzy to Randy Rhodes, and the rest is kind of history. And Randy, when he started playing with Ozzy didn't like Bob Daisley, the bass player at the time. So Randy said, "Hey, let me call up the guy I was playing with in Quiet Riot, which is Rudy Sarzo." So that's how Rudy ended up playing with Ozzy. And Rudy and Randy, they called each other Rudes and Rands in the book. Hey, Rudes, what's up, Rands? So I thought it was kind of cool. So they ended up doing the first two tours with Ozzy. And the book goes in great detail of the plane crash that killed Randy Rhodes. Uh, you know, there's some speculations in the book of why the plane crashed. The book kind of leads to it wasn't just a simple pilot error. I'm not going to give you spoilers. If you really want to know, read the book. So, which I did not expect that. That was very, very interesting the way that they came apart. Uh, and So, like I said, Randy Rhodes, his first big band with Ozzy, touring with Ozzy and Randy Rhodes. He talks about just everyday touring, what it's like, hotel rooms, buses, sound checks, different venues, the different types of crowds he would play in. Wasn't typically the crowd he was looking for. It was just awesome read stuff I never really thought about. How the album was mixed, how people played on the album, how it was mixed, stuff like that, like I just said. Um, and there's just story after story about how crazy Ozzy was. I mean, I always kind of knew he was a nut job. I like Ozzy. Don't get me wrong, I like Ozzy, but man, he's just like the stories in his book are just friggin' insane, man. The shit he did and actually lived through it. That's even more impressive. And he's still living to this day. Wow. I mean, the dude was just like it's kind of weird. It's like he went on a bender, nonstop drunk from like I don't know, 1980 to like 1982. It was weird. He was just fucked up the entire time, and he would come up for air every once in a while, and catch his senses. It got to the point, I think, in the first tour Blizzard of Ozz was the first album they did together. And I believe it was right in the middle of that tour where they actually took Ozzy and put him in an insane asylum. Which I remember growing up, I heard that story. I was like, nah, that can't be real. They're just making that shit up, right, for the sell magazines. But it's in here, man. He got so bad, they took him off the road, canceled the rest of the tours, and put the man in the insane asylum. Just to kind of like dry him out, I guess, or get his mind right. I don't really know, but it's just stories like that. I did not expect to read about. Crazy shit, man. But yeah, I mean, Rudy, he talks about the Quiet Riot members. He talks about the opening band, which the first opening band was Motorhead. Matter of fact, so if you're a Motorhead fan, he tells some stories about Motorhead. The second tour was Diver Madman and Def Leppard, a young Def Leppard, opened up for him, and he tells a lot of stories about how the first guitarist was pretty much a drunk. I mean, I always heard those rumors. Pete Way was nothing but an angry little drunk. He's only about, I think, like 5 foot or some shit. If you watch the videos, older videos of Def Leppard, like High and Dry, the guitar looks so big on him, man. Because he looks like a midget trying to play a friggin' Explorer. But anyway, but yeah, he tells a story about just Pete Way was just completely wasted, and they were shit canning him, which they did, and then went on to do Pyromania, which I always was a groundbreaking, uh, monom- monumental masterpiece. I'm not a huge Def Leppard fan, but I give credit to when it's due. He talks about one thing I didn't know was one of the opening bands. I think in L.A. when they were doing Blizzard of Ozz was a band called Girl. I knew of the band because that's where Phil Collin came from to replace Pete Way when his shit canned for being a drunk. Phil Collin came in, joined Def Leppard, and a singer from Girl was Phil. I can't remember his name now. Shit, his last name. But anyway, he went on to be the lead singer for L.A. Guns, which is a great band. I always liked them. L.A. Guns, Cocked and Loaded. That was an incredible album. But I guess the other thing I want to touch on was after every chapter, or after he talks about every show, he gives a little insert of the reviewers, what they said in a local magazine or newspaper. And it's funny because like all the way through the book, about 3/4 of the book, the reviewers always talk about how the lineup, Bob Daisley and Tommy Aldridge was the drummer, but the fact they don't know Rudy Sarzo was playing the entire fucking tour, they just kept saying Bob Daisley, Bob Daisley. So Rudy Sarzo said when he saw stuff like that, he knew that these reviewers weren't actually in the concert because what happened, what they did a lot of times, which I didn't know, was they would actually get the record and look at the band members on the back and just write some kind of half-ass, review and put the band members' names on there because Rudy Sarzo actually didn't record the album Blizzard of Ozz. That was Bob Daisley, but Ozzy didn't like him for some reason and kicked him out and replaced him with Rudy Sarzo to be the touring act. So all throughout the book, the reviews kept saying Bob Daisley was okay on bass. Bob Daisley was not a great stage presence, and on and on. And I think the drummer too as well. I don't know if Tommy Aldridge played on the actual. No, he didn't. He didn't record album. Somebody else did. So all throughout the book, they keep getting the wrong drummer and bass player uh, wrong throughout the review. So that's when Rudy starts like, look, I know they weren't there at the show. They're just reading the back of the credits and write some half-ass review, which I thought was really interesting. I didn't know they did shit like that back in the day. But he talks about recording of "Speak of the Devil," which Randy did not want to do. So I'll give you a little bit. So throughout the book, Randy did not. So during the Blizzard of Ozz tour, the last 3 songs of the set were Black Sabbath songs: "Paranoid," "Iron Man," and I think fuck, I can't remember the one. Anyway, there's 3 of them, and Randy hated playing Black Sabbath song. He just didn't think it was genuine for some reason. He just didn't like doing it. And So midway through the end of the Blizzard of Ozz tour, Sharon Osbourne, in case you don't know, Sharon Osbourne was Ozzy's manager at the time. She got wind of Black Sabbath releasing Black Sabbath Live Evil with Dio. So she said, "Hey, the record company wants us to release our own live album with all Black Sabbath songs." And Rudy didn't want to do it. Not Rudy, but Randy. He said, "No, I'm not doing it." And he basically got on shit list Ozzy and Sharon, and there's a lot of friction. Ozzy basically went on a, I don't know, 2 month long alcoholic bender and was threatening to fire. He did fire everybody at one time. Physically abusive to some of them. He got pretty violent. And finally, Randy goes, "All right, fuck it, I'll do it. You got me. I'll do the live recording." But on the last leg of Diary of a Madman, that's when the airplane crash happened. So he didn't end up recording it. It was the guy from Night Ranger, the guitarist, Brad Gillis. No, was it Brad Gillis? Maybe. I guess I should have known this shit before I did a video, but man, I can't. It was I think it was Brad Gillis from Night Ranger, but he went from Ozzy, then he went to Night Ranger. They were an okay band. They had some pretty good hits. Don't Tell Me You Love Me and Sister Christian off one of their albums. So yeah, he never played on it. Um, the other interesting fact was, I think Diary of a Madman or one of the albums they put Rudy Sarzo and Tommy Aldridge's picture on the album when in fact they never played on it. And in the book, the two guys saw the album and said, "Oh shit, look at this, man. We're on the freaking credits instantly. We didn't play on the album. I mean, we're gonna hear about this shit our entire life," and they have too. So they kind of laughed about it. And there's some other things in this book that I really thought it was interesting. I guess I'll share it. So early on the tour of Blizzard of Ozz, Ozzy was married. He had a wife and a couple kids back in England. Um, and Sharon was the manager. So Sharon and Ozzy, traveled on the same tour bus, and they would always fight. Actually, there were some stories about them physically. Ozzy was choking her and just beating the shit out of her, and that's when the bodyguard ran up and just, punched Ozzy in the face, broke his nose, fucked them all up. But anyway, so I guess they had a fight one night, and the story goes that Sharon visited Randy Rhodes' hotel room the night after a huge fight. And the way Rudy Sarzo tells the story is, you know, Randy was kind of like alluding to, yeah, she came to me after one night they had a fight, and he didn't want to say if he fucked her or not, but he was kind of like, it was kind of left up to the reader to figure that out. But that's something that I just never really thought of. But in the book, he kind of insinuates that Sharon got in a fight with Ozzy and Randy Rhodes fucked her some night or something, man. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Randy Rhodes fucking Sharon Osbourne. Man. But that's it, guys. This is already like 13 minutes. So, yeah, get the book, man. Order it from, I'll put the link below how to get it. I don't know if it's on Amazon, but I ordered it from DPG Music. And like I said, man, this is so awesome, man. He signed it, autographed it for me. It says, to Don, that's my name. Bang your head, Rudy Sarzo. Like I said, that's so awesome, though. Like that was the first concert I ever saw. It was Quiet Riot open up for Sabbath during the Born Again tour. All right, thanks, guys.